Hello, everybody. Let me bring that down just a little bit. There we go. How is everybody doing today? It's been rather warm around here, so we've got fans rolling, and hopefully that's not causing too much background noise. So hello into the chat, Rids16, and before, hello. So good to see everybody. We are here on Heart of a Hobbit, back on the official LOTRO stream. There was a couple of weeks recently where there was some issue with the stream keys, but they're all sorted out now. So we are back. There's an Aaron Bard, hello, in the chat. So, well, just in time too, because the Midsummer Festival has begun. So here in Lord of the Rings Online. So that's what we are doing here. If you are new to the channel or just popping in and like, what in the world is going on around here? What we are doing here is we are playing Lord of the Rings Online, and we are participating in something called the Midsummer Festival. So throughout the year in the game, there are various festivals that happen, and this is the one that is currently happening, is called the Midsummer Festival. It started in 2020 was the first year of it, so it is relatively new. It's the newest festival, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think if anything else has happened since I started playing in the beginning of 2019. So for me, it was very exciting. I was like, ooh, a new festival, because by then I'd already done all the festivals a couple of times, and I was like, this is exciting to get to do something, you know, different. Which, speaking of different, I just realized that I forgot to change that, so we're gonna fix that. We are not on Treebeard today, we are on Crick Hollow. And you're not able just to remove that word server. There we go. So yeah, just so people know, where are we? Because that's often a question that comes up. Because in Lord of the Rings Online, as with many MMOs, you can't fit everybody on one computer to play, so we're spread out over a myriad of servers. So I am playing on the Crick Hollow server today with this character. This is one of my Adamantias. I have an army of Adamantias and a retinue of Rosenblooms. So today we're on an Adamantia here. And we are in Minas Tirith. So, a little crazy because most of the festivals take place, just to kind of give you a quick overview, most of the festivals take place here in Eriador, like back at the beginning of the adventures. So if you've read The Hobbit or read any of the Lord of the Rings books, you probably have a lot of familiarity with things like the Shire, or Bree and Breeland, or maybe Thorin's Hall, things like that. So places where you think about elves and dwarves and hobbits and the race of man, sometimes mixing together as they do in Bree, sometimes kind of more of a one note like you have in the Shire, or up in Thorin's Hall where you've got your dwarves. But mainly, if there is a festival happening where all the peoples of all the lands might come together, it tends to happen somewhere in Eriador, usually in Bree area or in the Shire, and often there's little bits here and there, like out here in Eredlun, where we've got Thorin's Hall in the north and Kellendam in the south, so we've got dwarves in the north and elves in the south. When you start a new character, these are the kinds of areas that you end up in. Oh, is the music competing? Let's bring that down. Sorry, you know what? I just love the music so much, I forget, and I'm just like sitting here bouncing along to it. How's that? Let me know if that's better. Also, the fans, I do have a fan really close by, so that could also be interfering. Oh, okay. Hang on a second. All right, let's try that. See if that comes through better. We'll give that a moment.
Maybe too much.
Too much. Now you can't hear the music at all. No. Let's pull that back a little bit. All right, we'll try and find a happy medium. Gone. We don't want the music gone. It's some lovely, lovely music. Maybe I'll pop that just a little bit. Okay, we'll see how that is. But it's true, the music in the festival is quite noticeable. During this festival, they did a fantastic job with it. So really happy about that. So, okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so if you start a new character in Lord of the Rings Online. Um, Aaron Bard said, "Yes, I like the music, but I also like to hear what you have to say." What you say. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, so if you start a new character, you either if you're an elf, you will come out here down here in Kellendam. If you're a dwarf, you'll end up here in Thorin's Gate, and actually, elf has some stuff up there too. If you are a hobbit, you'll end up starting out here in the Shire, kind of up in the Needle Delving area. And if you're a race of man, you'll come out around the area of Bree. Another option you have that they added in just recently is there's a new pair of areas called Swanfleet down here and Cardolan down here. So, other direction, over in the middle of the map over there. And hey, hello, Just Right, Sandy. Good to see you. So you can do an alternate starting, where instead of coming out in one of those 4 areas, you come out down here in Swanfleet, and you go through a whole different storyline that takes place before the meeting at Elrond's house in Rivendell, where the famous meeting where you had Boromir was there, and Gandalf was there, and like it's where the cast of characters that becomes the Fellowship is there for various different reasons, so it's before that meeting. It's as people are traveling to that meeting, but they don't even necessarily know they're going for a meeting. They know they're like, something's happening. I need to go talk to Elrond. Is kind of what's going on there, and so it's as people are heading towards Rivendell, trying to find Rivendell, all that sort of thing. So you can start a character down in Swanfleet around that time, and then progress from there through Cardolan and forward. So anyway, so the festivals tend to take place in and around those starting areas, because they're areas that people are going to be familiar with, and they're going to know how to get around to, and they're going to be able to get around to them because the Stable Master in Bree, and the one in Mickle Delving, the one in Celladum, and the one up in Thorin's Hall are, I believe, unlocked, or you're able to get to them early on. You have to pay coin, but those are your kind of like your starting stable masters, and so there's usually some part of that network that you're able to take advantage of in order to get and do the different parts of the festival. So you've got like all your various festivals, like the Yule Fest. You can take a stable master from Bree, Mickle Delving, Celladum, or Thorin's Hall to get there. It's like kind of an instance, so it's not actually on the map, but you're in some like a very snowy, wintry kind of place. There's a digging event that happens, the treasure hunt event, and that takes place not too far from Thorin's Hall, and you can take a stable master from those 4 places for free to get to that event. When you have the anniversary event, most of that takes place in Bree, but there's some parts of it in Hobbiton area. When you do, Just Right says, I'll be lurking off and on as I clean up house for company coming. Well, that's exciting. Well, yep. Just turn it up. I'll try to explain what's going on the screen in case you can't see. And I try to do that anyway, because in case we have any visually impaired folks, and if we have any auditory impaired folks, we do have closed captions running, and it appears to be working at the moment. So definitely feel free to put that on. It's not perfect because obviously it's trying to figure it out on the go, and sometimes I say weird words that you get in LOTRO and it doesn't know what that is, so it does its best. But you can definitely pop that on and at least have a good sense of what I'm saying, even if you aren't able to hear every word. Okay, so all of the festivals in general take place in Eriador, in these starting areas. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens at there's always something happening at the party tree, pretty much for every festival, for example. And some festivals are very much centered around the party tree. So this festival is very unique in that, and we're going to zoom out, and we're going to look over here at Gondor, right? Isn't that where Minas Tirith is? Yeah, there it is. And zoom in to Minas Tirith at the end of these, what does it say? Erid Nimralis, which is the White Mountains. So at the end of this chain of mountains, hang on, I'm just looking at my map on the wall. It just says White Mountains. I don't think it has the other word for it. Here we have Minas Tirith, the city, the White City that juts out from the rock. So that's where we are. And in fact, you know what? I am on the tippy top of this place. So let me show you like the very edge. So it, like I said, it sticks out of the rock. So I can give you guys a good look at what that looks like. So the reason why this festival takes place here is because maybe they were trying to make Minas Tirith a happy place, which it is, which is fantastic. The reason I say it like that is because historically it's been a place that for some reason the way it was developed, it just has so much lag during regular gameplay. They've worked on it a lot, but you know, people are like, no, don't send me to Minas Tirith. So maybe this is a way of trying to reclaim it. So some of this has been redone for the wedding, but you can see some of the mountain range that it comes out from in the background there. And let me see if I go over. Oh yeah, there we go. There's a nice view. So you can see like a wedding cake, it has tiers as you go down. So ka-plum, 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 ka-plum. So there's all these different tiers that as it makes a half to 3/4 circle around as you go further and further and further up. It's really, yes, like cutting onions. It has tiers, asks before. And you can see that here in the map that you have these circles that go around that create the city of Minas Tirith. And it's a very defensible city. And what I'm saying, why I'm saying that is like basically if someone were to breach the wall, which we know, you know, in the books does happen, but if they were to try and get further and further up, say they want to get up to the top, to the citadel where they would find, you know, the people in charge. Well, they can't just walk up to the top. It's, you know, it's this huge going up business going on there. So to go up to the first tier, there's a ramp way over here on the bottom. And then you come up and now you're on, you know, the soldiers tier, because they're named here. The first one's the workers tier on the ground, and then you've got the soldiers tier. And then if you want to get up to the next one, the craftsman's tier, you have to go all the way around over to here to there's a ramp. And then you go all the way back over here to this ramp. So it sends you back and forth just to give you access to get up, which makes it really a much more defensible city than if you had all the ramps together and they would just be like charge, and right up to the top. So from a lore perspective, it's fantastic. From a player experience, sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to get around. But I actually love it. I think I love the way it just really brings in, you know, all of that as it is written. So that's pretty cool. So I love it. All right. So as you may have noticed as we were looking at the map there, my dot was way at the end because we have come all the way out here to the very, very, very end. We're not going to jump off. You can jump off. We are going to choose not to do such a thing. Okay. So the city has just been through a big siege and a huge war, you know, and so this, where we are in time is after Frodo and Sam have made it to Mount Doom, you know, everything has been sorted out, everybody's who's still alive has come, you know, has gone to wherever they're going to go immediately following, and a lot of them went to Minas Tirith to heal up, to regroup, you know, all these various things. And so one of the things that happened is Aragorn took on his mantle of, you know, King of Gondor. And so that's why we are here, because he has both gone through the crowning ceremony and has become king, but then he also went ahead and then married Arwen. And so this is our festival is happening in the midsummer, but it is also celebrating that wedding. So we have a lot of, you know, the whole place has just been decked up in flowers and bunting, and there's a huge amount of a celebratory feel going on. So I love this version of Minas Tirith. I think it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. So what you want to do if you are going to partake in this festival is two things, basically. Well, first, when you first arrive in the city, you need to find somebody who has a ring, and I'll show you downstairs whereabouts they are located. And they're going to be like, hey, you need to go upstairs and talk to King Elisar. He's going to welcome you. You're like, okay, so when you're coming up the ramps, so you're going to come up, the ramp leads from down there, and you're going to pop out, and you're going to be right here, and you're like, wow, now what do I do? You'll see a couple of festival people here if the festival is running. So there's two storylines that are happening at the same time right now. There's the wedding, which is a whole book, a LOTRO book that you can participate in, and then there's also this Midsummer Festival. You can do them separately. You don't have to do them all at the same time. But when you go in and talk to King Elisar, who is straight in front of us, so if we go this way. I should do that. Let me get out of the way. Here is the Tower Ecthelion, and when you go in, you're dismounted, and you get this super shiny, shiny, shiny floor, and you run all the way to the other end over there, and Elisar is there with his big old throne, and he's welcomes you to the Midsummer Festival, so now you can participate in the Midsummer Festival, and then 2, he'll have a quest that begins the epic book volume 5, and it's book 1, A Time of Celebration is where I'm at, and so I've just left it there. I picked it up, but I'm not pursuing that at this time. I'm just doing the Midsummer Festival. So it can be kind of confusing if you pick up both of those and then you're trying to follow both of those at the same time, because they're not connected directly in terms of like quests and quest completion and things like that. They are 2 separate things. Okay, and you can do the wedding anytime. So let's say you start a new character in December and you're like, wow, I really want to go do that wedding thing. Because there's not really a level minimum to it. I think like maybe level 5 or 10 or something like that. But it scales to your level just because it does, but it's all storyline. There's no combat as far as I can recall. Yeah, I think it's all storyline. And it brings in and does callbacks to a lot of things previously that you've encountered throughout the game. So it is nice to do after you've played quite a bit of the game, or at least, been through parts of the game, because there'll be times you'll meet people through that book 5 storyline that they'll refer to previous storylines. And if you haven't been there, that won't make sense to you, or you just don't have a frame of reference for these characters. Whereas if you've been through a lot of stuff, you're like, oh, now I understand why this is important. Anyway, but like I said, we're going to leave the wedding storyline aside. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to focus on the Midsummer Festival. So, with the Midsummer Festival, there's 2 parts that you want to make sure you accomplish. One is coming up here to the tippy top and collecting quests. There's a bunch of quest givers here on the top that you want to talk to, and you want to get these quests because that's what will allow you to do quests for the Midsummer Festival. There's some of them you find as you go out and about in the as you're traveling around, but basically most of them are here on the top. So one person is this Midsummer Wedding Planner, Marilyn. So we're going to talk to her. So she has this series of questions. So we're going to skip lightning in a bottle for a second, but we're going to pick up the other ones first. So something floral. She wants us to go to the Houses of Lore and place some floral arrangements. She wants us to go to, to the last drop is find the correct wine for the wedding planner. Cannot serve anything less than the finest, and each event has their own preferences based on the menu for these various feasts that she's planning. So anyway, we have to go do things. And there's a lot of stuff in here. So for example, she says, Meldis, we're getting shipments of wine. Let me go to the beginning. So she says, vintners from across the land have sent in shipments of wine to Meldis for the feast that I'm planning. That's the person here in town, in the city. We cannot serve anything less than the finest, and each event has their own preferences based on the menu. Meldis's inn, the Wheel and Cask, was destroyed in the war, but she's moved up to the Splintered Shield. It's a much rougher place than her last establishment, but you look like you can handle yourself. Meldis has the various casks of wine stored in the kitchen. Go sample each vintage until you find the one I require, then bring a barrel of it back here. So these sorts of things are the quests that we're picking up. Wedding
Let's all
supplies.
take a moment
A
of your
perfect
time.
wedding can be the most memorable moment of a relationship. I ensure that for all of my events, that memory is a delightful and fond one. Not only, only the best will do, which is why I have shipments of the finest supplies coming in from across the land. Rare foods, exquisite silks, exotic flowers. My couples ask and I deliver. She says, well, someone was supposed to deliver my shipments, but they seem to be otherwise occupied. So if you happen to find your way down to the third circle, and you happen to gather my tardy supply crates whilst there, I would appreciate it. You will know, you shall know which boxes are mine by their quality, of course. So that's the sort of thing we're doing. What's the other one? What ails
Would you
you?
do something for
There
me?
are barrels and ales from 4 different taverns. We need to go pick them up. And then the last one is lightning in a bottle. So, in keeping with this festival where there's multiple things to pay attention to, lightning in a bottle is kind of a 2-tiered sort of thing. So the first one is, she says, the wrapper quest, lightning in a bottle. Perfect illumination is one of the most important elements for the perfect wedding, evening wedding, because it will be an evening wedding. The soft flickering of the firefly is the perfect blend of soft radiance and playful wonder. Now, they can't be your run-of-the-mill insects. I require color-themed lanterns, so you'll have to do a bit of traveling for the perfect glow. There are a few bodies of water around which these special creatures live, emerging only as the sun dips down below the horizon. Fill these lanterns and return them to me straight away, and do not try to track bog water back here. So, she's telling us, go catch fireflies and bring them back to her. That's important. So now, she still has a ring, but we picked up her last quest. Aha! We did, but it opened up this. So when you take the lightning in a bottle quest, it then opens up these 4. So you have amethyst firefly lanterns, emerald, ruby, and sapphire. These 4 send you to 4 different locations back in Ered Luin. One sends you to a body of water that's not terribly far from Gondomar. One is in the Shire, north of Mickle-Delving. One is in Breeland, the Midwater Marshes. And one is down by Calendim, I think. I always have to look that one up on the map. So you're going to pick one of these 4 and decide which one you want to do. Now, there is a deed associated with completing these quests. So if I were, let me scoot that down, you can't see that. Let me pull those down. Okay, so if you do each one of these gathering quests twice, then you complete this deed. It gives you a Midsummer token, and you get a cute little title, The Flickering Flame. So I have done the Ruby Firefly Lantern quest once, but I need to do it a second time, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to pick Ruby Firefly Lanterns
Would you
from
do
her.
something for me?
She says, red, the color of passion, of the crimson roses of Imloth Melui, of our lifeblood. Would you not love to have a red wedding? Themed, that is. Such a bold color, complemented by so many other hues. Fireflies prefer watery places and tall grasses. Those of the ruby variety, however, can only be found in a place known as the Rushok Bog. Hurry along now to the Shire and see what you can catch there. Fill these lanterns for me with the little darlings, would you, and come right back. They needn't be kept trapped for longer than is necessary. Okay, so we're gonna go catch 12 ruby fireflies. And you may remember that she had said something at the beginning of this about how they're only available in the evening hours. So, yes, a red wedding, you say? A red-themed wedding, perhaps. The color red. So right now in the game, it is midnight. I have that up above on my Titan bar. And it's currently midnight, and it's going to turn to late watches in 5 minutes. So we're going to pop out of here pretty soon and go catch some fireflies. Okay, so I've picked up all the quests I can get from her. This lady, she is the Midsummer Barter matron. She does not have a ring over her head, you may notice, so we're going to keep moving on. But we continue kind of clockwise around this grassy square here. Grassy oblong. There's a cook.
Do something for me.
And he says, well, hello there, friend. You look like an important person. I wonder if you might be up for a small errand. I have samples of some treats I'm experimenting with. would you be so kind as to deliver them around the city for some of our, shall we say, loftier citizens? I should guess that you would have an easier time of it than I, being all important as you are. There's no charge to them, of course. Do feel free to let them know whose creations these are, however, so that they might put in some orders for their festivals or festivities. Mayhaps only tell those that enjoy the samples. Okay, so we have 5 samples to give out to merchants on the merchants tier, or fancy people tier. Okay, so we're going to continue around, but we're going to step off of the grass and wander this way. And before we get too far, though, we're going to turn into this little alcove here. And you'll see there's a florist, and she has a ring over her head because she has a pair of quests for us also. Arranging arrangements. She says, so many events, so many flowers, so few moments. These arrangements need to be placed at various event sites around the city. If you could find places for them where our events will be, it would save me so much time. So we have to plant 5 floral arrangements around the city, not in one specific place like the other one. Last one. Floral crowns. Welcome, friend. I heard you shall be assisting us during the festivities. Glad I am to hear this. I sent my daughter down to the first circle to gather flowers, which I plan to weave into floral crowns. She is a good lass, but does tend to get a bit distracted. If you find yourself down there, would you be so kind as to look for her? Totally, we'll do that. Okay, so we've picked up all the quests that we're going to do at this time from the top. So I'm going to pop us back down to the bottom. So I have a milestone set to Midsummer Minas Tirith. At the very bottom, there's only 1 milestone in this whole city, I think. Huge city, 1 milestone. Why not? Okay, because the very first thing I really should do is talk to this lady over here. And her name is Phaelith. And she is a lady of revelry. And she says, whether you join in the revelry here, in Minas Tirith, or in far-off lands, it is certain you will find yourself among merry company. We ask only that you celebrate in the spirit of midsummer. So this is our wrapper quest. So this is what we want to pick up before we complete anything. Because she wants us to participate in the celebration of midsummer 10 times. So that is basically do 10 quests to get around while you're running around. If you are brand new to coming to Midsummer Minas Tirith, the first thing you're going to need to do is talk to a midsummer reveler. And so you're looking for this kind of person right here. She's got, like, you know, the funky hat going with the flop on the side. So she'll have a ring over her head. There's another one, over here. So when you use that map, because you get a little map when you first log in, you'll probably get like a pop-up that says, hey, Midsummer is here, and then you click to continue and click to finish, and they'll give you a map. And that map brings you here to Midsummer, to the Minas Tirith in the Midsummer, where I'm backing out of slowly. It looks much better than it did during the siege. I do appreciate how they've erected what looks like somewhat of a temporary entrance, but it's also very nicely adorned and, you know, everything, so it's fantastic. So when you use that map, it's going to bring you out, I think it brings you out behind here, or somewhere in this area. And so you're out here with people who are arriving, heading into the city. You see we've got lots of carts and crates and folks here, you know, as they're arriving to come and join in the festivities. So it plops you in this area. So then as you're riding in, you'll want to keep an eye out for somebody who has a ring the very, very first time you come. And I believe it's definitely those 2 people. There might be more. But basically you want to pick up the ring from them because they're like, hey, King Elisar wants to meet you, wants to greet you up on the tippy top. Why don't you go? So you've got to talk to them first, because if you go up and talk to Elisar first, he has no idea why you're there. So, and that's disappointing, because then you have to come back down. But once you've done that and done the initial, hello, I'm here for your festival, then all you have to do is come to Phaelith and use the stable master here to get all over the place. Okay. Back to that firefly thing. Remember we had fireflies? We want to go catch fireflies while it's still nighttime. I picked the one that's in the Shire. So we're going to head over to Mickle Delving and ride north from there. Well, actually, yeah. I had a thought the other day. So here I am in Mickle Delving. And the fireflies are located over here outside of Needlehole. And I've been all over the Shire. Oh, maybe I haven't with this character. Can I get to Needlehole? Yes, but I don't have it unlocked because I haven't actually been there with this character. So, okay, that's a fair point. This is a newer character that I'm playing with. There's 3 of us that are playing on Thursday nights over on Crick Hollow here. And we are doing reasonably completionist characters, but we're playing with a friend who's new to LOTRO, and so we've been doing kind of following her lead on things. And so we started off coming out of Archette and Bree, and we've been making our way through there. And so we haven't done any of the other starter areas yet. We have not, pursued that with her. So we don't have like the Shire. We haven't gone everywhere through the Shire yet. We haven't done any of Ered Luin with her, I don't think. And I've only barely introduced her to festivals because I really didn't want to overwhelm her with too much at once, because it can be easy to get a lot of it confused and be like, wait, why did we do this, and how does this connect to that? So I've been trying to just be pretty chill about it. Festival time will come. We did do some festival stuff for, I think it was spring last year, because I really wanted to, we were all trying to get the honey goat, because 2 of our 3 are Bjornings, and we really wanted to have them have the honey goat, so we thought that'd be great. So, Egg Arthur, hello, welcome to the chat. Egg Arthur says another option to get to these fireflies is to go to the party tree, which you can do from the homestead. So if you have a house in LOTRO or are part of a kinship, you can use a travel skill, go back to the homes, back to your home area, and use there's a stable master there, and you can use that stable master to travel directly to the party tree. So that's a handy little transit option you have also. Or if you're a hunter like me, you can set your your camp to be the hill, which I did. So, all right, so this is what the fireflies look like when you get out there to catch them. So you notice I have like all these cute little rings on my map. So you basically roll yourself up next to one, click on it, click on the ring, and you have captured it. Now you notice sometimes they're moving, I should say, they're flying. So that one, see how it's moving? Whew, I was still close enough. But if it moves while you're collecting it and it moves out of your range, then it's like, oh, it's too far away, try again. So that can be kind of amusing. So I am not encountering any other players out here at this moment. Oh, see, look, that one. Oh, too far away. See, he moved away from me. So there aren't any other players out here right now doing this, so I'm not having to worry about it. I could just chase down any old firefly I want. But sometimes you might encounter other players also doing the same thing. So you'll notice there's a lot of rings. There's plenty for everybody. You don't need to fight over them. Be nice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and they do respawn pretty quickly, actually. I could just sit here and hang out and basically collect the same firefly node over and over again if I wanted to. I don't need to. There's plenty of them here and there's nobody else, so I'll just collect my 12. So there we go. Yay, I have 12 fireflies. So now what I would do is I would go back and to the very tippy top, and I would turn this in, and then she would be like, okay, now take these lanterns and put them out in town, which we will do. But first, I want to show you something. So there's different... Yeah. Let me pull this back up. So one of the wacky things they included with this festival are these little kits. So this is a strawberry bun baking kit that cooks can get a recipe for it and make them into take that kit and make the buns. There are, let's see, do I have any of the others? I might not have any of the others on this server. I probably do though. There's basically one type of kit for every different type of crafting. I'll show you when we can go back to Minas Tirith and I'll show you. So out in the rest of the world, and remember how I was saying, every festival, they always have something going on in these starter areas, it seems like. So for this particular one, yeah, there's 2 quests here by the party tree. And each of those rewards you with that strawberry bun baking kit.
Of your time?
There's 2 quests you can do in Brie that give you, I think it's the banner. And then there's like 2 quests you can do in Kellendam area. There's 2 quests you can do up in Eredluin area. And so I think the Thorns Hall, I think the Dwarven one, Thorns Hall one, gives you the drinking horns. And so what's the last one? We have the banners. There's a jeweler's one, maybe. I think there's a jeweler one. So every crafting, craft has been covered. So like jeweler has one, cook has one. Oh, here we go. Wedding centerpiece, that's the other one. So if you're let's take a look. Does it say? It doesn't say. But the wedding centerpiece kit, I think, can be crafted into these wedding centerpieces by jewelers and I think metalsmiths. Or maybe it's weaponsmiths. I think the metalsmiths and somebody else get the drinking horns, and then like I think tailors and woodworkers can make the banners. So yeah, so whatever crafting you can do, you've got something you can make. So I thought it'd be funny just to show you the 2 quests that are here by the party tree because it's easy for me to get here. So Sneaky Hobbit, she's standing here, and she says, yes, you will do perfectly. Listen, if you could do me a favor, I would really appreciate it. We have a wedding planned, and, well, let's just say that the bride would really appreciate it if some of our more troublesome neighbors were not in attendance. I have a stack of invitations here whose information might be a bit misleading, if you catch my drift. If you could deliver these to our good neighbors, I know the bride would really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to deliver invitations, deceptive invitations, to hobbits that we would prefer not to go to this wedding. There's another quest right around the corner here. Oh, Egg Arthur, thanks. He's put it all in here. So centerpieces are jeweler and scholar. Scholar is the other one. Okay. Horns are metalsmith and weaponsmith. The banners are tailor and woodworker. The buns are cook. Can anybody else beside the cook then make the buns? Are they the only one? Before points out that by this time next year, maybe a single character might be able to make, well, all 3 of those that are listed. Would be really interesting to see if there's a way to make all 4. Okay, so here's our other one, and hang on. Okay, so she's got another one, and we're going to pick up her quest. And she says, hello, come to enjoy the party too? Well, my friends and I think it could use a little more excitement. We wanted to decorate the tables with smelly flowers, but everyone always has their eyes on us. On account of our previous misdeeds, I'd wager, but I'm sure you're an upstanding hobbit. No need to worry about people spying on you. So the 2 tables you'll be looking for have empty vases. Just watch out for Calthla Goodchild's helpers. They've got the eyes of hawks. Grab some flowers from my basket when you are ready. Okay, so she has a little basket of flowers here. And now we've got a couple of folks by the party tree who are going to have the little eye like you get, that guy right there, like you get for when you've got the hungry hobbits or the nosy hobbits when you're trying to deliver mail or pies. So you got to keep an eye on these guys. So there's an empty vase. We're going to go ahead and fill that up with smelly flowers. And then the other one is right there, but we'll see the helper is looking right at the table. So we're going to wait a minute. While we're waiting, we're going to go deliver an invitation to that troublesome hobbit who didn't leave the festival last time for 3 days. That's a bit long for a wedding guest. And we're going to drop some flowers in this empty vase. Boom. All right. So while we're here, I'm just going to pop up to Lobelia's house, where surprisingly we are not giving Lobelia or Lotho one of these invitations, but another unwelcome hobbit up at the top, nearby, just hanging around there. Troublesome hobbit. Here we go. This guy says, yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we've delivered another deceptive invitation. And let's continue down. So now, if we look at our map, we've delivered the stuff up here, and we took care of that quest up at the party tree. So now these are where we have to deliver the other invitations. And while we're here, we can actually pop by the smelly flower girl and drop off that quest, because we did finish that. And she's going to, you'll see where we have one of those. So we turn that in.
How do you do?
Boom, now we have a second one. So let's go ahead and continue finding these troublesome hobbits. And the cool thing is, if you decide to come and do these quests that are outside of the center of the, outside of Minas Tirith, they do still count toward the Midsummer Festival. So you'll notice by doing the one by the party tree, I already got 1 out of my 10 festival quests done. So that's neat. That is convenient. Nope, not Postman Grub. Ah, this guy over here.
Hello there.
I haven't, so that's the funny thing with this character, because we've been doing other things. I haven't, we haven't done pies
How do you do?
or mail with these characters. It's so weird. So it's kind of funny to come through the Shire and see all these quests I haven't done yet. Let's see, there's one more I missed. Oh, back to the north. Okay. We'll keep going. Pies, pies, pies. Hi, Holly. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, before it says 4. The fourth one, cook, scholar, metalworker, tailor, perhaps, could then do all 4 of the different things. Oh, they're over here. Oh, I know why. They're kind of hanging out over by the gaffer. Not helping, mind you, just being nearby. Oh, okay. She says, finally. Can you believe I thought I wasn't invited? I hate to break it to you, lady. Well, I won't tell her. All right, so now we can go back to our sneaky hobbit. Turn this in. And she says, excellent. The bride will be most pleased, and my larders will not be as strained as the last wedding. What a disaster that was. Thank you for your help, my friend. Oh, I would have invited you to the wedding too, but I'm sure you're quite too busy to attend. Okay, good day to you. So Egg Arthur does point out that you don't have to do these quests specifically to get those kits. You can also barter them with tokens from the same lady who will sell you the recipes back in Minas Tirith. So we'll make sure we stop by and see her to show you those. So I have completed 20 Midsummer quests in Minas Tirith and across Middle-earth, which completed a deed for Love of Midsummer. Yay! And let's see, that gave me a Midsummer token. Ta-da! And now I'm on a further quest called, probably like for Love of Midsummer Advanced. So I need to do 60. I've done 20. And that'll give me a Midsummer token. And then for the Love of Midsummer Final, I need to do 120. And for that, you get a frame, and you also get a title Merrymaker. So that's kind of cute. Okay, so I think we are going to go ahead and go back to Minas Tirith, because that's where all the action's happening. You know, well, that's where all the action's happening where I want to go. I want to show off what's happening over in Minas Tirith. So we're going to pop back over there. And then, yeah, I think what I'll do today is do all the quests that are here in Minas Tirith, or at least as many as we can do in 2 hours. When I'm not talking and distracted and explaining and stuff like that, I can do, if I'm like focused, dialed in, I can actually do the entire, I can do 10, which is all you need for the wrapper, and I can get that done in like 20 minutes. So you can actually get through 3 characters in an hour if you really are just like on it. What I do, so what I'm going to show you today though is probably more than 10, because there's more than 10 quests here in Minas Tirith during the midsummer. So it's nice because you've definitely got flexibility. Like you saw, I just got 2 done, and we haven't even been anywhere in town to do anything. But I do have a guide that I put together, and let me go ahead and put that in the chat there. Excuse me. Let me grab a little drink. So what was going on is Minas Tirith is a big city, and you're not riding necessarily in a linear way. I definitely utilize the stable masters a lot. Now, I do end up taking the stable masters and go like from one to the next to the next to the next. I kind of work my way up through the layers, as it were. I was finding that just remembering which way I wanted to go was like, sometimes I would forget. And I started making notes for myself. And I was like, you know what? If I'm forgetting, and I know this festival pretty well, especially by that point, I'm like, I'll bet there's others who could really benefit from just kind of seeing what I've put together and maybe using it themselves. Excuse me. So I put together this this little quick guide, which, I mean, you look at it and you're like, this isn't quick, honey. It really is. Trust me. You're welcome, Aaron Bart. Aaron Bart says, thank you so much. So basically, the top of it, this quick guide that I put together, kind of talks about, like, where are we? What are we doing? And I mentioned a couple other places where you can get information also. And then I kind of go over how does this guide function. So, for example, if you're moving from one location to another, like I like what direction you're going, that sort of thing. I've put that in italics. If it tells you the quest name, I put that in bold, so you can kind of pay attention. You'll be like, oh, okay, where am I going? Ah, okay, you know, boom, boom, boom. And in the guide, I also have like south, north, and so basically, to make it simpler, south is basically like down or also clockwise. And if we're saying north, we mean this direction, but that can also be counterclockwise. So, you know, that's kind of our directions there when we're dealing with most of a circle. The other things I kind of presuppose in this to make this work as quickly as possible, so you can do 20, you can do it in 20 minutes, is that you're okay using the stable master and paying the 1 silver each time you use it, but I'm using it like 10 times. So, you know, there is that. So you've got to be, so maybe if you're a level 5 character, maybe you don't have the cash for that. Totally get it. In that case, you would end up just riding through the city and you wouldn't take advantage of the stable master, so it would take you longer than 20 minutes. But you can still ride through the city, so that's no big deal. No big deal in the sense that you can still accomplish the festival and get to everywhere you need to get to. You're not blocked from doing anything like that. Oh, I will mention, when you first come and you need to go up and talk to King Elisar and all of that, when you go to this guy, only the high stables is unlocked. All the rest of these are going to be locked. And you're like, oh no, I can't get around. Don't worry about it. And you know, I forgot to double check, but if I recall correctly, once you've been to the high stables and you come back down, what I did is I would ride from here doing quests. I took that first ramp and went up and talked to the stable master there, the soldiers tier. So that's the first one that's not here, not the high stables. And that unlocked all the rest of them. So once you've talked to one that's not this guy and not the high stables, I'm pretty sure that's when it unlocks all of them. So you're not out of luck. They will open for you. The other thing I kind of presuppose in putting together this guide is that you will go ahead and utilize the milestone, which is located right here. Looks like a big old fancy statue with like dragon wings or something going on there. And mine is set to a 5-minute cooldown. And so I find that, you know, I've planned the guide out to make sure that your cooldown, that it's 5 minutes, you can use your cooldown again. If you don't have that, you can, if you have a house of any sort, you can use your housing travel to get you back to the neighborhood, and then use the Midsummer Festival location to get you here. I believe South Bree also can get you here. So if you get yourself to South Bree, you can get here. So there are other options, and I didn't explore them heavily in this guide, but just to let you know that there are other options outside of what I've done here. But I do have this all mentioned in there, that kind of in your preparation before you get going, you're going to want to have a milestone set to the ground tier, and hopefully with that 5-minute cooldown, that you have picked up the daily wrapper quest downstairs, and then you've gone upstairs and picked up all the quests up there. If you're doing, there's a quest called a long-awaited banquet. That's actually a deed, and it basically, you need to go into where they're having the wedding feast and talk to one of the named character guests. So like your Aragorns, your Pippins, those sort of things. And talk to one of them. They're going to give you a quest. You go do the thing. You come back. You turn it into them, and that finishes it for the day. You can only do one of those a day. That's why if you are trying to accomplish that deed, you might want to get on that and do that, pick that up, because sometimes they'll send you out into the city, like I think it's a Pippin's quest, where you pick up food from up there where they're having the feast, but you bring it down here to give to some of the children who are running around. So there's various quests that you might want to pick up also as you're doing it. So I do mention this in the preparation. Also, if you're doing the Fireflies quest like we are, you want to pick up the quest at the top, then you want to catch them as soon as you're able to, because time moves on. So for example, it's already 4 dawn, and in 15 minutes it's going to be dawn. So if I waited 15 minutes from now, I would not be able to catch them for another like 2 and some hours, because the day cycle is like 3.5 hours, 3 3/4, something like that. It's not a full 4 hours cycle, but it's, so anyway, so you don't want to dawdle on that. No dawdling, as they say. All right. And then after you've caught them, you really do want to go back up to the top and get that quest progressed. So we are going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go back up to the high stables. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as you resolve when you're headed to the high stables, get off your horse, dismount. Okay. So we're going to do that. So I'm mentioning that before we get here. So you're like, why'd you get off the horse? So the high stables would continue taking me through underneath the prow all the way to the stable over there. But that's not where I want to go. I want to go up to the top. And the top is actually, I have to turn around. And this is a tier, but I don't want to be on this tier. I want to keep going up. And that's right here. So these 2 ramps do happen to be, well, not ramps, but these 2 locations, the going under the prow where it takes you when you go to the stable master, and the ramp to go up to get to the very top are right next to each other. So I avoid that long run-in by going ahead and just dismounting as soon as I resolve. I love the little sparkles that horse is leaving behind. So good. All right, so recognize this place. And we're going to talk to her, and we're going to tell her about our ruby fireflies. And she says, you did it. She says, honestly, I wasn't sure you'd find any. The ruby firefly can be the most elusive of the lot. Yes, these will do nicely. How lovely their scarlet glow will look at the event. Take these and place them in the Hall of Air on the 5th circle. Okay, now we're ready to go. So we're going to go back down to the bottom. Aaron Bard says, Mickle Delving for sure gets you here. So those 4, the reason I say South Bree, though, is because I'm pretty sure it's South Bree and not West Bree that gets you out here. But I think the others, Mickle Delving, Calendim, and Thorin's Hall, all will get you here. Excuse me. Okay, so I am going to. Yeah, Aaron Bard does point out that West Bree does not. Yes, I am pretty certain, that it is South Bree, because, let's go, oops, I went too far. I delved too deep. Eriador, Bree. If you look at Breetown, Well, so there's the west gate of Bree up at the top area, and then you've got the south gate of Bree down here. And basically, if you're looking at Breetown, you'll notice that West Bree kind of then leads you off towards like the Shire and Eredluin, whereas South Bree leads you off to the Lone Lands and the Trollshaws and Eregion, and even further, if we're looking at South Bree here, it leads us off to Rohan. So all of that is basically south of Bree. So that's why South Bree becomes kind of a hub for getting you to these higher level areas, including Minas Tirith. Okay. Aaron Bard with the typos. I get it. I know what you're saying. I speak typo. I am very fluent in typo. Okay. So we are, well, here, we're going to follow my little guide. So actually, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to do, the first quest I usually do is this aiding the stable hands. So the city stables of Minas Tirith are right here. And we're going to pop in. Because we already have our wrapper. We're good to go. So Laboris is laboring. And she says, pardon me, do you have time to spare? Many have come to witness the celebrations and left their steeds in our care. These weary horses have seen much travel and need people to look after them. With how hectic things have been, we do not have enough stable hands. There are a few horses around the stable that need grooming, and others that deserve treats for good behavior, just like I give tuna to the cats. We would appreciate the help, if you do not mind, of course. There are crates at the back of the stables with equipment and apples. Sure. So, where we are in here is basically like a H, is the way I look at it. So I'm standing here, and I'm going to go to the back. So basically there's like a line here, and then I'm going to cut through the middle, and there's kind of a line here. Now, you can actually all of this, run through all of it, but there's the center part here that you can run through, so that's why I kind of look at it as like an H on its side. So I'm going to run to the back, and then scoot just slightly off to the side, because there's a little set of stairs here, and that's where you're going to find these crates. So we have our equipment crate where we're going to find the brushes, and we have the crate of apples where we're going to get some apples. And now we're going to pop down and start at the top of this side of the H, and I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to cut through the middle, and I'm actually going to come back around and come to the top of this side of the H, and come all the way down, because then that brings me back to our quest giver at the beginning, and then we can leave. So there are two horses here, and they do have rings over their heads. So if you can see a ring, if you can keep an eye out for that, then you will find who you're looking for. Also, select and use will also work when you're next to them. So I make good use out of that as I'm running around. So through the middle, there's only one. So the first part of the H had 2, the middle had 1. So this last part has 3, and that will get us our 6. All right, so we have a well-behaved horse here, have an apple. Casper came in. I wonder if he heard tuna. Did you hear me talking about tuna? Did you, sweetie? Okay, so we've groomed 3 horses. We've fed 3 horses. Laboris is ready. She says, thank you. The horses look much happier already. I can breathe a sigh of relief knowing they are content. If you are able, please come back tomorrow. We may need more help then. So that gave us another Midsummer quest done. So we should be at 3 out of 10 already. So I'm going to come out of there, and I'm going to mount up, and I'm going to head south and go find the florist's daughter. Now, in my quick guide, I don't necessarily go through all the details of like where you're going to find those horses, where exactly you're going to find this daughter. There is some pre-presumption that you have an idea about where to, like you've done these quests possibly once before, so you have a little bit of a knowledge about this. And she says, okay, hello, have you come to play with us? You tell her of her mother's concerns. The young girl gasps with almost a theatrical drama. Oh no, I totally forgot about the flowers. Will you help me gather them? This will go twice as quickly with you by my side. That is, if you have the time. So sure. So we're collecting, and conveniently they put one right here for us so we know what we're looking for. So we're looking for these little bundles of summer flowers. And where we are right next to the, by her is, there's a couple of them there. But then we have to go south a little bit. And there's two, oops, wrong one. There's a couple here, so that makes 3 and 4. One by the pillars and one in the grass. And then you can actually mount up because you have to get past the guest houses here. There's no more flowers right through here. Just a wagon and a bunch of people and stuff. But once you get past that space, now we get back into the flowers. And you'll notice you have to dismount to do the flowers anyway. So I tend not to mount back up. I just don't bother. I just keep running. You know, select the next one, run over to it. But you'll notice that got us, 5, 6, and 7. There's one across the street. So that gets us to 8. And then we are going to continue just slightly south again. And we find number 9 and number 10. There's more than this. There's more than 10. These just happen to be the 10 that I find closest together and easy to, like, it's just an easy path for me to do. All right, so I'm going to mount back up because I need to go back to the daughter and say, here's your flowers. Now you can go tell your mom. But there might be a twist. All right, so she's still over here playing with the kids because she's a kid, and that seems fair. And she says, I was right. You found twice as much as me. You can use the blankets to put down your flowers. I know you've already done so much for me. However, if we weave these into crowns from Mother, it will make her smile so much. And maybe she will not be so upset that I got distracted. Oh, and when you're done, could you tell her I'm going to eat with Father for dinner? Thank you. And we're probably delivering the crowns to her, actually. So there's a cute little checkered blanket. And we made some crowns. And that quest is complete. Okay. So what I used to do, and this is what you would do is if you didn't have, like, the money or didn't want to use the stable masters, is you could just travel south from here. And the ramp is this lighter, slightly lighter colored area here. That's the ramp. It's kind of hard to see, I know, but that's the ramp. So you could do that. But what I like to do is, for time's sake, because we are so close, really, to the middle, that actually is a time saver, to go back to our stable master guy and take a ride to the soldiers tier, which is the next one above us. They are in alphabetical order, not in layer order. So you kind of have to know which one's which I call out in the guide, which is another reason why I made the guide, because the names of the tiers were not sticking with me. And sometimes a quest will refer to it like by the 3rd tier, and sometimes it'll refer to it by its name, like the craftsman tier. Oh, how funny, I just realized that I flip-flopped those in the guide. So in the guide, I call out ground level, workers tier, 2nd tier, 2nd circle, soldiers tier. And then I did craftsman's tier, 3rd tier, where they should have been the other way around, but whatever. It's the same thing. So anyway, my point is that it was frustrating to me that sometimes it would call it one thing, it would call it by its name, and sometimes they would refer to it by its number. But the stable master just refers to them by name. So, yeah. I put this all in the guide because that way that you can, if it says 1, you know, you're like, oh, that one. Okay, got it. Okay, so the horse dropped us off right about there, and we ran over to this guy, this Borlock of Rimmon. And we're going to pick up his quest. And he has a quest called Artistic Direction. The festivities have been quite exciting, haven't they? It's been months since I've been able to produce a single painting, but this visit to Minas Tirith has finally given me inspiration. Unfortunately, I can't put a brush to canvas until I obtain paint ingredients. The city is like a maze. Yeah, I've already lost my way 6 times. If I go wandering off again, I might not find my way back. Perhaps you will have better luck. I've asked for directions, well, 6 times before. Seek out the chef, cereal, for charcoal, a potter from the House of Craft for clay, and the gardener, Lebedar, for flowers. The first 2 are on the 3rd circle, and Lebedar is on the 2nd. So we're going to pick up this quest, and this is one of those that I was talking about, like where you can capture the quest as you're working your way through the city. But you, so that could be one of the 10 that you do. Now his quest is also one that we're going to do a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, kind of like the one where we're picking up barrels in a bunch of different places. So you don't finish it right away, but it's okay. Before is also doing the festival right now. Says it's so weird to be finishing up artistic direction on my screen while you're just starting it on yours. That's great. Okay, so my directions say pick up artistic direction from Borlock from Overman when you arrive. Done. Go south/left to the Splintered Shield for the quest toss a coin to the last drop and what ails you. And when we're done with that, we come back out and we go more south to the Mumakin Keep for what ails you. And after we're done at the Mumakin Keep, we will use our milestone. Because by then, 5 minutes has elapsed from when you came down from the top, when you went up to get those quests. Now you can actually hop over these walls here, sometimes with a few tries. So you can go around, you can hop a wall, it's totally up to you. Yeah, Kirill says hi, thanks. By the way, Kirill could be with a hard C because that seems to be common in a lot of the Tolkien stuff. Or it could be a soft C to be cereal because she's a cook and I like that joke. Anyway, so I flop back and forth between how I refer to her, cereal or Kirill. You know, it's probably her formal and her informal names, right? Agarther says, so I typed city, soldier, craft, player, sage, high, those are the orders of the tiers, into a mnemonic generator. Kind of like, you know, if you're trying to remember the planets, men very early made jars served useful needs, period. That's how I learned it. So men was Mercury, so men, M-E, men, Mercury, Venus, men very, Venus, early, Earth, men very early made, M-A, Mars, jars, Jupiter, serve, Saturn, useful, Uranus, needs, Neptune, period, Pluto. Apparently I don't need a period anymore on the end of these sentences because Pluto's no longer a planet. Anyway, so you typed city, soldier, craft, player, sage, high into a mnemonic generator and got cute shamans, cherished purple, selfish herrings. Not sure that helps. I'm not sure if it helps either. P4 says, be gone, dwarf planet. But I liked the dwarf planet. I don't want it to be gone. Anyway, funny side note is at one point when we were running conventions and there was an astronomer and his wife who was also astronomy adjacent in her work. And they were big into sci-fi conventions as well, of course. And they had like this blow-up planetarium, that you could put in a large ballroom if you had, you know, that kind of a space, or in a large atrium. So cool. And so they kind of ended up doing that, bringing that to some conventions, including mine. So that was really, really cool. And we got to talking, and they had been present at the conference when this whole Pluto thing went down, and they had a very interesting story to say about it, and I would not do it justice to try and tell the story, but basically there was a vote that wasn't going to happen, and then so everybody went to lunch and then a vote did happen, like that kind of a thing. So yeah, so it was a surprise to them about the Pluto thing. Anyway, all right, so once you get in here to the Splintered Shield, there's a number of quests you want to do. So the first one we're going to start with is we are going to do, wow, that guy's just zooming by. Yellow. I thought I was fast with my hunter skills. Is this flower peddler. And he has a really funny story. I'm just not going to read through the whole thing right now. But basically he wants you to toss coins at the various minstrels because they're playing too loud because he drank too much the night before. So you go to the person and you stand there and you toss a coin at them. And they say things like, oh, very well, I'll go where my talents are appreciated. So there's 6 of them here. So what I do is I usually start with the one that's on the same level as this guy. And then I jump down through this hole and try to land on the barrels, but often miss. And there's a person that's going to be right here. And I just noticed there's like 2 or 3 other people in here right now. So there'll be a little bit of pausing as we, hopefully they can get in. So if they toss, so you see I've got an induction. So if they toss around the same time I do, we can get it together, which is great. So that's number 2. There's another one in here, and he's up above, but if you can click on him from down here, you can actually toss a coin from below. Oh, here comes Hadlin. Cool, cool, cool. Hopefully he got it. Awesome. And then I'm going to go over here and duck down here. We've got a couple of quests going on. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to toss a coin. Hopefully he's here. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's what I try to do. If I see somebody else doing the same thing, is I try to pause so that way they have enough time to... oh, I got to write this song. She says, Pity, I was just about to sing the Ballad of the Rotted Fruit and the Honeybee, which I really, like, I need this song. All right. So a couple things. So that was, first, we're working on toss a coin. Second, we have barrels of ale to collect for the quest, What Ails You, from 4 different locations. This is one of them. So quest number 2, moved forward. Quest number 3 is the one where she wanted us to find a glass, to find a barrel. So the barrels are over here. So the barrels are lined up over here. One of these glasses of wine is the one that we want to get a drink of. So I'm looking down on it as if I am looking at a constellation. Back to our theme there. And you'll see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 glasses over here. And there should be 1, 2, 3, 4 glasses over here. So this one, I'm pretty sure, is the one that's in the wrong place. So what you want to do is find the glass that's in the wrong place. Because if you do, hopefully we got this right. Let's find out. Yay! It says the light-bodied tart red tastes of strawberries, violets, and black pepper. And if you get it right, notice how they stop glowing. We can no longer drink the silly wine. And we can pick up the barrel of wine, put it in our little teeny backpack, and move on, because we have picked up the proper wine cask. So Fibro Jedi has a guide, and he has an image, like a screenshot of that. Here's another one of our musicians. We're going to toss a coin at him. And also, B4 is working on putting together a... like a patch for the Festival Buddy plugin, and it will have in it as well that image, or an image of that, like just like what we were doing just there, just looking down, and you'll be able to see which is the odd one out, because it'll have the image of what's the right ones. So that's kind of cool. So that's what the scoop is with that. Okay, we finished toss a coin. So now we head on out of here, because remember we said that we're going to finish here, and then we leave. We go a little further south. We got to go pick up a barrel from the Mumak and Keep. And then we want to port back down. Let's see. We have, before coming in with another mnemonic, call Sam 'cause potatoes stand harvested. So I do think it needs to have the same, because there's 2 C's, right? We've got city and we have craft. So we need, the first one needs to be CI for city, and the next one needs to be CR for craft. See, there's your challenge. That's why Men Very Early Made works, because you got the ME for Mercury and the MA for Mars. Oh yeah, Egg Arthur does point out though that the seeing the messages for the wrong wines is absolutely worth it, because there's some hilarious ones in there. There's one about like it smells like of wet dog. I mean, like, it's just hilarious. Oh, nice. B4 says to Egg Arthur, I think the image I grabbed from the wiki is the one you uploaded, so thank you. Let's see, and B4 is adding has added the wrong messages to the Festival Buddy, so in case you are curious what they are, you get to see those also. Okay, so we are following the guide. We went to the Mumak Keep, we used our milestone. We're going to take the stable master to the
How
craftsman's
may I help
tier,
you, friend?
but we are going to dismount before we actually get very far, because we actually want to go down the ramp. So the thing is the stable master is either at the top of the ramp. It's usually at the top of the ramps. So the stable master would take me up there to the 3rd tier, but I really want to be on the 2nd tier. But I want to be here on the 2nd tier, not at the other stable master, which is on the other side of the circle, right? Like, I'll show you. So I'm over here. This is where I want to be. But if I were to take the stable master to this tier, it would drop me up way over here. That's not where I want to be, right? I want to be right here, where I am. So that's why some of my directions are take the stable master, but get off and go down the ramp. So got that. All right. So we've got Lebedar. We've got 2 things going on with him. Artistic direction. We're grabbing some flowers from the gardener for the painter guy. And then he has his own quest, which is basically he's a gardener, lots of gardens, and he needs a little bit of help. So there's a garden up on the 3rd circle he would like us to help out with. So we've got that. Now, while we're here, you'll notice these unhelpful hounds are running around. That's because there's another quest nearby, and that's this lady over here, the Worried Woman. And she has basically one of the dogs has run off with her engagement ring. So the hounds, are too far away. Hang on. It used to be last year and the year before that the hound you're looking for, nice, we found the ring first try, comes over here, like this guy just did, onto this side of the this giant planter. So you should be able to plant yourself here and wait for the right hound to come by. But I did that yesterday and it didn't work, so I'm not sure what's going on. At any rate,
what can I do for you?
We found her ring, and she says, thank you, thank you. It sounds silly, but I feel like that dog thinks this is all very funny. So, yes, the dog knows. He knows. All right, so we finished that one. That's a very quick one we can do. You pick up the quest, you find her ring, you give her ring back, you're good to go. Okay, what else have we got? Yeah. So yes, the Mumakan Keep, Aaron Bart says, I love the name of this pub. It's Elephant and Castle, but LOTRO style. Okay, so we rode back up the ramp. Oh, that's funny. So B4's come up with another one for these tiers in order. Cite songs as crowd-pleasing, satisfying highlights. Because it does have high for high stables, sight for city, songs for soldiers. So crowd, which one's crowd? Oh, the one I'm on, craft. Pleasing for players, nice. Satisfying for sages. I like the first 2 letter and more. That's awesome. That's not bad. That one's not bad. Okay, so anyway, we're up on this crafts tier. And this is where we're gonna find these boxes of wedding supplies. And so we pick up this box. And as we go over here, kind of near the potter that we need to talk to, you'll see there's another box, but it's not glowing. The reason is, it seems like for most of these boxes, I went ahead and talked to the potter and got the clay, there's a pairing. So like that box and this box are one node, as it were. So when you collect from one, you can't collect the other one. Now inside here, there are 2 boxes. Let's see if this person is also going for them. They're not. Yay. Oh, they are. Okay, I'll just let them get them. That's fine. So these, I have searched up and down all over this place, and I have not found the equivalent one to this one. So these might be single box nodes. Huh. So there's a box there. The reason I said, huh, is because there's another one down here. Well, I'll go ahead and grab this one while it's here. We'll grab the other one on the way out. Okay, so a couple of things going on in here. We came from that door over there, and there's a postman over there. We'll go talk to him in a minute. But we also have this marriage rite, and she's the one we want to talk to about all these recipes that we were discussing earlier. So she has 4 quests, and then she has her barter items. Look at her barter items.
These are troublesome times.
So remember earlier we collected a couple of the strawberry bun baking kits. But if I didn't want to go and collect them, I can buy them from her for 2 festival tokens each. Now, why would I do that? Maybe I just want to make a bunch of these things and not have to travel all over the place. So I'm really looking to complete my wrapper and less for trying to complete quests. Now, if I turn it in, though, I do get 3 tokens for completing the quest. Now, she wants 3 of them. So when you do a strawberry bun bake, when you bake that, you get 1, I believe, but 3 on a critical. So it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily a token winning situation. It's maybe roughly. Anyway, you could buy any one of these 4 kits from her. And then she's got the recipes for everybody down here. Aaron Bard asks, do these recipes stop working when the festival ends? No, they do not. They stay as part of your recipe collection. So I went ahead and picked up the wedding centerpiece one. And I also, for my cook side of myself, picked up the strawberry bun recipe because I'm a jeweler, prospector, cook. Oh, okay. Egg Arthur says, for the buns, you do need a 100% critical rate for it to be self-sustaining, for basically to pay for itself. But for the others, you only need a 50% critical success. Well, that's good. So another interesting thing, so the recipes cost 1 token. So when I came in here and got the recipes, I had 10 tokens because I think you get a couple or maybe 1 from doing the just accepting the quest that gives you the map. And then also I had probably already done like the helpful hounds. So anyway, I had like 10 tokens by the time I got here. So being able to buy these recipes for 1 each wasn't a problem at that time. So that was nice. Oh, another thing I was going to mention, that you can buy the recipe, even though I can't use it, but I could buy the recipe and give it to one of my alts, which is really nice. Because I ran into that one day when I did have like a woodworking other character, but I wasn't running my woodworking character through the festival. Or, no, I was, but I'd forgotten to get the recipe and I didn't want to run him all the way back here or something like that. So I just picked up the recipe, stuck it in my shared storage, and then the next time my guy was on, I just grabbed it out of shared storage so I could use it so he can make the banners. Aaron Bart asks, are they single use? No, they are not. They are permanent knowledge. So yeah, it's really nice that you could learn any one of these and then you have it forever. Because you'll find people who come and do stuff in the game, because there's quests in Minas Tirith that will give you these. Now, I can't remember which ones those are off the top of my head now. But there's other ways that you can end up with these in your inventory. And so sometimes people end up with the banner, or the kits, and they're like, I don't want this kit, I don't want to deal with this, because there's somebody else who can use it. And so that's really handy, because then I'll just hang on to them. Sometimes I'll use them when I'm trying to get, like my character right now, you can see her cook hasn't even started. So I could like go just do a bunch of strawberry buns with her and get some cook experience, which is kind of silly. Yes, Egg Arthur points out that the recipes and the outputs and the kits, I believe, are all unbound. So yeah, so players can buy and sell them on the auction house. You can give them to other characters. You can give them to other people in your fellowship and your kinship, just people you want to give them to, whatever. So yeah, this stuff is all unbound and you can pass it around. It's fantastic. Now, once you consume the recipe, it's that character, has consumed the recipe. So you can't pass the recipe on after you've, read it, as it were. But you could buy the recipe and give them away, which is pretty cool. And then you don't even have to leave this room to do them, because it's a crafting hall. So you've got workbenches, you've got ovens, you've got forges somewhere. Can't remember where they are. You've got studies upstairs. Like, you've got everything you need in here. Oh, maybe the forge was over here by this this box that keeps disappearing. There it is. There's the forge. So yes, you don't even have to leave this room to then craft the stuff, and then you just run it right back to her. So that's kind of convenient. So a lot of times I don't even pick up the quests from her, because I'll just wait. Now, you can only do the quest once a day. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll end up with like a stack of things. I'll make a whole bunch of them, you know, put some crit stuff on or whatever, make a whole bunch of them. And then I just have them stacked up in my shared storage. And then I'll bring a character in and be like, you know, my woodworker stuck some banners in shared storage, and my cook stuck some, you know, the buns in shared storage. And so I have 4 stacks, right? And I'll just pick up each 4 of these, go into my shared storage, get the 4 things I need, for, you know, get the stacks I need, go boom, 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 pass in all 4 of them, and be done. But I can't do it again that day. So if I do a celebratory stack now, I can't do it again until it all resets at 3 o'clock server time. So just be aware that you can't just like turn in the same thing over and over and over again that day. There is a cooldown, just like there is with all these other quests. Okay, so now the postmaster, I've already picked up his quest. So I must have picked it up like yesterday and just not done it, which is usually the case. Midsummer, here we go. His quest is honoring healers. So his quest was basically, I heard that you're assisting us. You haven't any idea how grateful I am. If you could spare the time, I'm quite overwhelmed with letters that need to be delivered. I have a pleasant task here, a stack of thank you letters for healers at the House of Healing. And so basically, he wants you to go up to the Houses of Healing and find like 6 different healers. And there is exactly 6. Like, you have to find those 6 people and give them letters that are basically like thank you letters. So that's nice. Oh, and Egg Arthur points out that you can even join a crafting guild in here. The only thing you cannot do is complete the intro to crafting guilds quest. So if you are already if you already have got your stuff going, your crafting stuff going, you can join the appropriate guilds. So let's see what I got. Jeweler and cook. Well, like for example, there's the Tailor's Guild guy.
The city used to be so full of life. I wouldn't have urged you
And
coming.
there's
Now, well,
oh, sorry, that's recipes.
the quiet speaks for itself.
Guild leader. There's the guild leader for the Tailor's Guild. Yeah, they're in here. Let's see. There's the Woodworkers Guild leader. So yeah, so I think that's kind of nice. All right, we're gonna get back on track. We have picked up some wedding supply boxes. And I'm going to mount back up, and then I'm going to continue heading to the garden, which is north. So we are headed towards the rocks, towards the mountain, as it were. Very pretty. I love how basically the music here is mainly themes that are in other places in the game, but that were reworked to be like this kind of even more festive version of them. That's fantastic. Yes, it was a symbol of the Alliance. Okay, so now we're in the garden, and we need to water some bushes, and we need to pull out some weeds. And they're kind of in clumps. Like, we've got 3 right here together. There was 1 by the door when we came in, or well, not door, but entrance area. We've got 3 right along here together. And then the rest of them are back by, there's a kind of a central, we've got that fountain there and like these statues and stuff. So the rest of them are kind of in this middle-ish area. So for example, here's a pesky weed by the fountain. And some unwatered plants by the trees. Oh, it reminds me I should water my plants again. It's been a little dry here lately. We got some more pesky weeds at the base of this statue. And an unwatered plant. Okay, and a pesky weed, which completes that for us. Okay, so now we actually want to go and turn this in. So looking at my stuff, after the garden, use milestones. So it's been 5 minutes. We did some writing. It's been more than 5 minutes. But if we were doing this in that 20-minute version. So we head back down, and we're going to do the same thing we did before, where we're going to take the milestone to the craftsman's tier, but we're going to ride down. We're going to dismount and ride down so we can turn in the quest.
These are troublesome
So, what did I
times
say,
indeed.
craftsman? Yeah. And off the horse, onto a pony. And down we go. Back to him to tell him we went and worked in the garden, and he's very happy about that. Now we go back up because we're done with that tier, and now we're going up, up, up. And again, it's another situation where we are going to be on the tier we want to be on, but we're not at the location of this tier where we want to be. So we're way over here, and we really want to be over here. So again, the most efficient way to do this is to take the stable master to the players tier and dismount as soon as we resolve. Zoom. Let's see what we got here. We got some chat. What are the signs all around the city about old archives, kings, and so on? When you are here in regular Minas Tirith, not wedding version, not midsummer version, there are deeds for finding all of these things. They're long deeds too. Let's see. I don't even know what they're called. Before I put something in there. So yeah, before mentions that there are deeds to find them all. B says something about a teddy bear. Teddy bear weave looks great. I have no idea. Oh, and then the deeds to look at all of these plaques. Before it says they might be minimum level 90 though. So there's that also. But I think in the, yeah, if you look at the, let me look at the deed tracker. Gosh, what is this going to be? Gondor? Is it Eastern Gondor? Maybe Central? Or is it Western? Oof, I think I've completed these deeds like once, maybe twice. Eastern? Old Anorian? Oh, it's an Old Anorian thing. Oh, okay. Oh, Minas Tirith Fellow Halls. Discover the 10 Fellow Halls of Minas Tirith. Let's see, meet the 7 Masters of Minas Tirith. There's a whole lot of collection quests in Minas Tirith. Meet the 5 Captains of Minas Tirith. Oops. Yeah, it's somewhere in there that, oh gosh, maybe down here. Here we go. Plaques of the White City. Let's see. So there'll be Explorer upon... You have to complete guests, taverns, teachings, vaults, and workings of the White City. Those deeds. So like guests of the White City, read the 10 plaques of landmarks frequented by those visiting the city of Minas Tirith. Taverns, teachings... 5 plaques, vaults is 6, workings is 5. No, oh, here we go. Line of Kings. Read the 33 plaques. Oh, you've got that in reverse order, by the way. It says read 33 the plaques. Anyway. I like the tooltips. Stewards of Gondor, read the 25 plaques. So that's what these are about, is reading those 25 plus 33 plaques. For the deeds. So it's a long thing. Yes, Egg Arthur says, Minas Tirith has a plaque problem. Should probably see a dentist. Arr, arr. I'm sure they've got an appointment at 2:30. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, and okay, yes. And before it says, in your deed log, there's more information about each of them. For instance, with the old guest house plaque, you learn, you know, something like, also known as Senes Iar. It is a stately inn where errand boys loiter and await orders. So things like that. So, oh, thanks, Moobot. The LOTRO market is a way to buy expansions for the game. Also, you can do that in the game with the LOTRO store. You can push the little LOTRO store button down there. Yeah, Real Tiff points out there are 2 deeds for the plaques alone. Okay, so that's what those are about. So you can kind of ignore them while you're doing the wedding festival stuff. Okay, so here's Cereal or Curiel, and we have one more artistic direction thing, and that is with her. So she needs charcoal from my burnt wood, whatever for. Oh, no matter. Here, take it. I don't need it anyway. So now we have all the ingredients for the artist guy. So next time we're in the area, we can turn that into him. She, however, has a quest, and she says, you there. It appears you have some spare time on your hands. You've seen the guards hard at work around the city. Despite the festival, they keep watch day and night. The war remains fresh on everyone's minds, I'm afraid. The guards are busy with little more, but I want to help them find some enjoyment nevertheless. And food is the key to anyone's heart. I've just made a batch of small pastries and let them cool on the table over there. I'll need you to deliver them to any hungry-looking guards nearby. Now, quickly now, I don't want my pastries to get cold. Aaron Bard says, thank you. Scholars are driven mental by the not knowing. Real Tough says, I think they only work the first time you get them, but not during the festival. Yes. It is true, they do not work. You cannot advance the deed in the Midsummer version of Minas Tirith, unfortunately. At least that's been my experience. Things can change. So, you notice I popped off to the side to pick up some wedding supplies there. And there's a hungry guard. So from where Cereal is standing, there are 2 guards to the south and 2 guards to the north. So you can kind of just, pick your poison on which way you want to go, whether you want to go north first or south first. It really doesn't matter because you're going to turn around and go the opposite way next time. So, okay, so I've got some supplies. And here's another hungry guard. He says, my favorite. If I had to do all this work just to get a pastry from Cereal, then it was worth it. Nice. Okay, so we've done 2. Now while we're here, we're going to pop south a little further. I wonder if I can make it up there today. Nope, I don't think I can. We'll go around. I want to go to the Merry Swan, which the door is just right here. It's no big deal. Easy peasy. So the Merry Swan, I have 2 things in here I want to do. There's a barrel back there behind all those other barrels that I want. See, it's tucked right back there. And then there's also some spots on stage where I would like to place some flower arrangements. I need to place 5 throughout the city, and this will allow me to complete 2. Also, this is a housing item that you can get and purchase in the game during this festival, and it looks pretty neat in your house. So, just pointing that out. What was I going to say? Oh, if you are doing, let me look it up real quick. Emerald, I think? Yeah. If you are doing the Emerald Fireflies, this is where they go. They go onto the stage here. There's like a spot here, a spot here. So like there's 4 spots on this stage to place the Emerald Fireflies. So if you're doing that, just keep that in mind. Now, to get that barrel, you can run up these stairs and go around behind. But if you're able to jump, if you jump up on the wall here, you can actually access it from here, which saves you just a teeny bit of time of going behind there and coming back out. So that's an option. Okay, but I still need to find 2 more guards because those guys are hungry, just like me. No, they're probably more hungry than I am. I'm gonna eat after the stream because I'm a little hungry. All right, so we're going to run along here, or skate as it is appearing. So funny thing is, Minas Tirith is broken into a bunch of pieces, and one of the pieces definitely is like right here, because especially in 2020, when there was some really bad stuff like attacks or something going on, this part would not resolve, and sometimes you would be like going along here and there's no floor. I mean, it was insane. So anyway, 2 more this way. Actually, give me a second. So, there. I must be spelling it wrong. Somebody's looking for Faradis, and I'm like, which one? Wait, which one's Faradis? In the Citadel. Nay. I'm misspelling it. They must not have spelled it right, or I'm not spelling it right. I don't know. Anyway, I was going to try and help somebody in World Chat, but I cannot. Okay. He says, it saddens me that I cannot join in celebrations right now, but I appreciate the kind gesture. Okay, moving on to find the fourth guy. Yeah, before. Minas Tirith is broken into a bunch of pieces. Well, it did just survive a siege. That's fair. And the last guard is in this area. Yeah, sometimes he's up there, sometimes he's back over here. So he says, thank you, I needed that. It's been a long day, but cereals, pastries always taste good. Okay, so now we can go back to her and turn that quest back into her. Aaron Bart says, thanks for that tip about the barrel. The navigation mesh between the barrel and the door makes it almost impossible to take that as a shortcut. Yeah, it's really, I think there's like some invisible wall stuff going on there between where the barrel is and getting out from that area. So you end up going back to the stairs, and it seems like it takes a long time. All right, she says, you're back, and with an empty platter at that. You have my gratitude. I don't say that to just anyone. You've made quite a few people smile today. Come back tomorrow. There will always be mouths to feed. You're welcome. Okay, so now we have done sweet treats. And says, while south, get the wedding supplies. We did that. We did that. Okay, so return to her, and we're going to go up the nearby ramp to the players tier. Now, if we were doing sapphire fireflies, this is the tier that we'd be looking at. So when I get up here, sorry, I'm still thinking about that. If I go just slightly, so if I go to the right, the first of the guys that we're giving samples to is here. Hang on a second. Oh, Faradis is the person who is the barterer on the top. There we go. Okay, so we give this guy one of the samples from that cook back up on the top that we met. And he says, what now? A sample? I ate but a few hours ago. Well, hobbits aren't the only ones who can double up on meals, eh? It's perfectly serviceable food, but nothing I should want to serve at my tables. Now, if it had bacon crumbles on top, yes, that would really help the flavor. Okay, we will pass that on to the cook guy. All right, so our next person is actually in this little area over here. Nice. Like that. But because I'm coming from over here, what I often do is I take the stairs and I jump in on him. Because it's faster. Seems like it. He says, go away, shoo, I haven't any food for you. What? Oh, you wished me to try your food. Well, I am not in the habit of accepting food from random strangers, but come, give it here. Not bad. Needs a tad more salt. Well, you can get that from the bacon crumbles, probably. All right, our next person is over here in this open space. She says, what's this? A free sample? Delicious. I would not change a thing, except to perhaps, well, might I have another? So she liked them. So that's good. That's good. And then our next person, we go over here and up the ramp, up the stairs, and she's standing there. Friend. And she says, does it have nuts? I detest nuts. No nuts? Very well then. Give it here. She says, it needs for something. Nuts, perhaps. These people. And our last one is over here. He says, what is it? I do not eat random things. Wait a moment. It does smell divine. Tastes as good as it smells. All right, so I think we got some pretty good feedback for our cook guy. So, all right. So now we're going to continue south, and we're going into the Blue Theater, which I think would be a fantastic place for events. But I've heard that the sound doesn't come through very well, so it may not work out. Anyway, this guy has a quest for us.
Can I speak with you?
He says, once again, I must apologize for the delay. Oh, what delay, you ask? Are you not here for the Cloudy Heads? It's a dreadful name, I think, but they're fine enough musicians. They're scheduled to play soon, but I have no idea where they've all gone. They haven't left the theater, but that is all I know. Would you find them for me and direct them backstage? So there's 6 of them, and we gotta go find them and send them backstage. Okay, no problem. So the Blue Theater is kind of like a clock, and they are dispersed around in the clock, and they have 2 to 3 spawn locations. I was tracking that at one point with the first year of the festival, and I kind of made notes and stuff. Fibro Jedi has a really good, at one point I think he went and tracked it all down. So I'm pretty sure all of that information is in his Midsummer Festival guide, which is great. His Midsummer Festival guide is always so fantastic. And then the other thing I want to do is there's some flower arrangements that I want to do, and those are on stage. But first we're going to start by looking for the lost people. So the first thing I do is I go up here because one of the spawn points is up here on top. So we found Paula Stoutly, and she says, oh, I see, it's that way, is it? And you'll see there's another one over there. There's Robbo. So we're going to go say hi to Robbo. And, oh, nice. Okay, so we have some chat here. Let me click on Robbo and let him know where to go. So, Esmaga Sapo says, playing this game for some time now, also in Crick Hollow. Low level, though, 38 so far. What I enjoy the most are the bright areas with cheerful, embracing music like the Shire and Avondale. Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about the Minas Tirith Midsummer is the music. It's just so bouncy, it's so fun. The dark areas make it difficult to play, and trying to avoid them, move through as fast as possible. This channel has been interesting to watch. Well, I'm glad, and thank you for that feedback. Yeah, I do find that I am not drawn to the dark places as well. I am definitely drawn to the more bright and perhaps more light-hearted storylines and locations, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy focusing on the festivals with my streams, because there's just something very nice and light about them, and it's nice. Now we are working our way through the storylines. I play a lot on Treebeard, which is a slow progression server, and what that means is basically we started off with only part of the world available to us. And then after every 5 to 6 months goes by, the next expansion that opened in LOTRO is then made available to us. So we started off with just Eriador, and then we got Mordor and Moria, excuse me, wrong one. Moria and Lothlorien, and then after that we got like Southern Mirkwood and that whole thing with Dol Guldur. Yes, so the Dol Guldur area. And, keeping them at bay so they don't get to Lothlorien. And then from there, we went to, like, the Great River and stuff like that. So anyway, so we're, like, slowly progressing our way around the world. And I often play with my sweetie, who is here and also in the chat before. And so there's definitely times when I'm, like, I just kind of follow along, and I'm not having to lead the charge, as it were. And I do appreciate that. Especially as we get into kind of sometimes some darker storylines or just colorfully darker spaces. I'm often glad to be like, okay, we're out of there. Let's go back to Minas Tirith in the Midsummer, or that sort of thing. So I do appreciate being able to like balance it a little bit, because yeah, some of the darker spaces are hard to stomach sometimes, and I appreciate that I can, not have to be the one kind of driving us through those spaces, which is nice. So, yeah, but thanks for the feedback and for popping in there. That's nice. Let's see, B4 says, no nuts. Do I contradict myself? Yes, do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. B4 says he believes that is a Walt Whitman quote. Although Aaron Bard says it might have been Chaucer, might have been Knight's Tale. No. Okay, so Paula, as you might have noticed, was here, and because I'd already directed her, she didn't have a ring on her head. But that's just to kind of show you that that's another one of her spawning points. Okay, so we're going to continue. I just jump off of things in this place, and I'm going to use F10 to try and find my next person. Now, Robbo, I think, is one we already talked to, right? So let's find Froki, it says, is in this direction. Ah, he's in one of his lower spawn points. Okay. So Robbo sometimes shows up down here, and Froki shows up down here. All right. Wow, what dwarf would get lost in such a place, he says. You know, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and do the floral arrangements. So let's pop through and do that. So, funny thing is, though, at the end of Eureka, there was a TV show, and it got canceled at a really annoying place, like a huge cliffhanger. And one of the characters said nuts. And it was like the last word that was said. Oh, here's Holler. He's another one of the dwarves. And so people were protesting that the show got canceled. And so they bombarded the network with mail that was all nuts. And they got renewed for like 2 more seasons, and then they wrapped up the storyline. So here's Danar. Now she's always backstage. She's always in this area. And I love how she said, like, I am backstage, yes? So she's here or further back there, or yeah, she's always kind of in this area, so that she's easy to find. That's nice. Oh, yesterday I was doing the, there's a quest for Frodo where he wants you to find like some parchment and a quill and stuff like that. And so that sort of stuff is found in this theater. You can find a lot of that here. Okay, so who are we missing? Let's see. We found Gord, right? Or did we not find Gord yet? Oh, I don't think we found Gord yet. And Gord is usually after Danar, somewhere in this area, I think. Oops, I'm pushing the wrong button. F10 is my people. Gord. All right, he's got a little dotted line in this direction. Excellent, there he is. Standing by this pillar. Hey, Gord. Gord Dunnelly. What a great name. Dunley. I think Dunnelly would be better. And sometimes he is found back in that area, also having like a little chat with people. But okay, so we finished our flowers, and now we're going to go back to where we came in because we have finished finding all of the cloudy heads. And now we can let Dulam know, hey, we found them all.
Greetings, friend.
He says, oh, thank you. I should have known better than to invite them to perform in the Blue Theater again, much less for all of Midsummer. Didn't Froki work for the X-Files, says Aaron Hart. I don't know. Escamaga Sapo says, Treebeard server. Never heard of it. Going to check it out. Thank you kindly. So the Treebeard server is a legendary server, which means you have to be a subscriber to be able to play on it. So just be aware of that. But like, I am already a VP. I pay for the VIP service. Like, we just do it once a year, and then I'm good for the rest of the year. Yes, and Egg Arthur points out, currently it's the legendary server. So the legendary server, like, what do you call it, where you've got your family tree, kind of, is that there was Anor, and then Anor, when it first opened, was really, really busy, and people were having to, like, get in line to get on to the server, so they quickly opened a second one called Ithil. So there was overflow over onto Ithil. So we had Ithil and Anor, which is very nice. But the rush ended soon after Ithil was opened. So Ithil was always kind of small. But it was also the same idea where you didn't get everything all at once. You had that slow progression again. And you didn't get like 100% of the XP that you normally get. You only got a fraction of it. Things like that. So Ithil and Anor were open for a while. And then they went ahead and closed Ithil, and in preparation for doing other things, I think, stuff like that. And then I'm trying to see if I can find, I had a little thing on legendary servers. There we go. So, oops. Now, as you know, I'm not currently on Treebeard. I'm currently on Crick Hollow for this character. But anyway, so then eventually they closed Ithil, but you had free transfers off to Anor, and then they were like, okay, we're really closing, so you can have free transfers off of Ithil to anywhere. So you got people who went to various servers, you know, Langval and like all over the place. And then, actually, my next thing here is to take the milestone down, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then in that time period, they opened 2 new servers called Treebeard and Shadowfax. Because one of the things that was happening on Anor is that it would go for 4-ish months or so, and they would bring out the next expansion. They would open up the next expansion area for you on that. And I was like, and then there were people like me who were like, wow, 4 months is not enough time. I need more time. And then there were other people that are like, I'm bored yesterday. You know, like they got to, they open up the next area and they're like, okay, done, now what? They would like get it all done in one day because they'd save up a whole bunch of quests and stuff. And so they would just like, and get all of their XP, and now they're cap level and they're bored. So, you know, there was a real divide there in terms of like interest. Like some people are like, go faster, and some people are like, go slower. And it's really like, how do you find a compromise between those two? So I think that was happening at the same time that SSG was coming up with this interesting new difficulty slider, and like this thing you can add on to your game that makes things more difficult when you're out doing stuff in landscape. And so I think what they wanted to do is to test that out a little bit, because they've been testing it themselves, but like putting a whole bunch of players in the mix and letting them play with it, you can find out where can they break it, what works, what's not working, is there anything like that. So they went ahead and opened up 2 new servers called Shadowfax for the people who wanted to go really fast. Those people were getting 150% of experience, and the next expansion was opening up every 2 months, so really fast, like boom, 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 boom. And then at the same time, they opened up Treebeard, where we go very slowly, and we get like 40% of the experience that you can get. So 150%, 40%, huge difference. And we get the next expansion every 5 to 6 months. So I like to call it, there was the Zoom server and the Haroom server. So we're going really fast, going really slow. And they also introduced that difficulty, that landscape difficulty thing on those 2 servers at that time. So those were the only places where you could play with that landscape difficulty. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with that. I never actually did make a character on Shadowfax. And the reason I'm talking about Shadowfax in the past tense is because it just closed. They got to 140. They met, they caught up to what's happening on the regular servers. And so rather than leaving it open and just sitting there, they went ahead and did the same thing like they did with Anor, and which they did with Ithil. And then eventually Anor also has been closed. And so they were like, okay, you can transfer your characters off. You can go anywhere you want for free. Just get them all gone. So Shadowfax, so Anor, so first Ithil closed, then Anor closed, and then, because it got to cap also, and then Shadowfax got to cap, and it has now closed. So if you had any characters on Shadowfax, public service announcement here, is you need to get them off. Let me see if is there a thing for that? Does Moobot know anything? Yes, there we go. So Shadowfax closed to log in on May 31st. So you can no longer log in and manipulate your stuff, move your stuff from one place to another, or anything like that. But anything that you had, like in your shared storage, that your character had, any of that stuff is still there if you didn't take it off. And you can now transfer it off to any of the servers that you want to go to, except for Treebeard. You can't go to a legendary server. They don't allow transfers into legendary servers, only out of. And that's the way it's been, with the one exception being at that one time when you could transfer from Ithil to Anor. But I think it's because they were exactly on the same path, and so there were no issues. But yeah, so yes, currently Treebeard is the only legendary server. Makes me wonder if they're going to open another one. I mean, how soon? I mean, I'm sure they will. The question is, what's its theme going to be? And when is that going to be? Because if they wait for Treebeard to finish before they open another legendary server, that's a long time. Like, we just got to level 85. I think I did a tracking at one point, and we would get through the current expansions that were out at that point, which I think took us to like level 140. And we would catch up in like 2027, maybe it was. So we're a little ways out. So I can't imagine that they're not going to open another legendary server sometime between now and then. I was just thinking I should go ahead and open up my Hobbit gift. Oh, speaking of gifts and things, let's see, what's it? Freebie. Just throw and move out all sorts of stuff to do there. Every week there's a code to get free stuff. And so what you do is you go into the LOTRO store, which is down here. There's usually like a little coin or something. I'm running with a UI skin, so things look a little different. But anyway, so you go to the LOTRO store, and you're going to click on this thing at the far right that says Redeem Code. And right there, you've got a coupons code spot. So you're going to take that coupon code that we just got there, Boost Slay, and I'm going to paste that in there. And then I hit apply. And it goes cha-ching, like the cash register. And it says you have successfully redeemed your coupon for Skill and Slayer Deed Boost for 6 hours. So that's pretty cool. And now it is in my inventory right there. It says purchased from the store, all that sort of thing. Oh, interesting. That is, oh, I've got halted experience on this way. You can only redeem the free coupon. Excuse me, it's allergies are really bad. You can only redeem the free coupon once per week, and it only lasts for a week, Thursday to Thursday. And you can only redeem it on one server. So, like, you just get it once in your whole account everywhere. So, if something like that comes up, you know, make sure you redeem it on the server that you want it if you play on multiple servers, like some of us do. So, there you go. Did I miss anything else? I think I did not, hopefully. So, getting my my water with lemon going there. I did some lemon and cucumber this time. I should be getting some mint. We're going to get some mint from the store. I know there's some mint outside, but I never am certain whether it's, like, edible or not, and I'd hate to poison myself. So we're not going to do that. So we're just going to get me some mint from the store. I had some mint growing out back, and then it was taking over everything, because that's what mint does. So I moved it, I put it in a barrel, and it died. I mean, like, I put it in a big pot, you know, a planter. No, it died. Oh, well. I'm just not great with the plants. That's why they have to be outdoor plants. Then they have a chance. Okay, anyway. We finished artistic direction, so we just need to turn it in. So we happen to be at a stable master. Now's a convenient time to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over to the soldiers tier, which is the next one right above us, which is where we picked up the quest from, what's his nut? And Carlock of Rimmon? Oh, Borlock of Rimmon. I don't know why I was thinking it was a C. And he's like, hey, this is perfect. I can finally get to work painting scenes of Minas Tirith with ingredients gathered from the city from itself. I must say I enjoy the idea. Thank you for your hard work, and once I'm done, I'll paint myself a map so I never get lost in here again. So that's another quest we've completed now. Okay, so conveniently, I'm right by a stable master. Now, I would like to go and do the fireflies. The ones I have are the ruby ones, and they are on the sages tier, the 5th tier.
These are
So we're going to go on up
indeed.
to the sages tier so I can get that done. So we're going to pop in here, which is not too bad because I actually want to be, I need to go north of here anyway. So being in the middle is not bad. Okay, so we're going to mount up because everything else you do on this tier is the other direction, is down in the south part of this tier. This is the only thing you do in the north part of this tier is ride until you get to the Hall of Air, which, by the way, is gorgeous. And I don't know, I just love the look of this, how you can look out, and it's just like, I think it's fantastic. I love the Hall of Air. I think this would be another really cool place for like activities, gatherings, that sort of thing. But anyway, okay, so I've got these, it says a good place for a lantern. And you see I've got this lantern that looks like there's no middle. That's just because it's like glass in the middle. And there's little fireflies in there that you really can barely see. Like right now, you can't even see them. So it's a, there you go. There was a little red dot. I saw it. All right, so here's another good, whoops, wrong thing. Another good place for a lantern. So we've got 2 here and then 2 on the next setup. So we do 2 and 2. Okay, so I have finished the lanterns, and it actually tells me that from the deed perspective. Let me show you. Now the deed has it completed. Ruby Firefly lanterns 2 out of 2. So I don't need to do the ruby ones again. But I do want to turn that in the wrapper back to the top tier because I want to be able to do the next one the next time, right? Tomorrow or whenever I'm doing festival again with this character. So I'm actually going to go ahead and head back up there. Now, what I would do if I was in a hurry, like I would port myself back down and so on and so on. But I'm going to go ahead and just go here to the sages, to your stable master. She's right here. And I'm going to take that up to the high stables. I probably could just be like, the high stables is probably nearby, but that's okay. And dismount, because I want to go to the tippy top, just like we did before. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon because we've done 10 quests. So we're done with what we need to do today. I just need to go back down to the bottom and turn in my 10 quest wrapper. But first I'm going up to the top because I want to turn in the Firefly wrapper. All the sillinesses. Okay. And then I think what I'll do next week is we will pick up, and I'll try and, before the stream maybe, try and get myself to that point. Then we can continue on and do the rest of the quests that are in the tiers further up. Because a lot of times what happens is I get to my 5 and I just come up and I'm done, right? I call it good, or I get my 10. But that means you don't get to see those other quests, right? So I want to show you the other quests. So we'll do those next week. But I'm going to go ahead and turn these quests into her. So lightning in a bottle. She's like, oh, you did better than I expected. These lanterns give off just the glow I was looking for. More and more ceremonies are being planned every day. Come back tomorrow. I might have need of you again. And then we also have To the Last Drop.
Greetings. Where
we got the right barrel. And she says, this is going to be perfect and my customers will be so happy. Good work. And then the last one, wedding supplies. We got all of her wedding supplies. She says, excellent, good work. So, and then we want to definitely talk to the cook. Just want to let him know how things went down there. He says, you've returned. Tell me, what did they think? You share the nobles' opinions. He says, this is all wonderful feedback. Give me some time to think this over and I shall make the changes. Come back tomorrow and we shall try again. Dude, I'm telling you though, I just want to like check. I want to try all these different things he's got going on next to him here, but like, can I go to a feast? Because this sounds great. And the florist, we need to tell her that her daughter is having dinner with her dad. And she says, dinner with her father. Well, that will save me some time tonight. Honestly, that child will do whatever she needs in order to shirk her duties. At least she chose someone crafty for her chores. These look marvelous, friend. Thank you for your help. So that's all the quests from up above that I wanted to turn in. And we still have a couple of outstanding quests. We have a barrel of ale we haven't picked up. We haven't honored the healers. And we have floral arrangements to do in the 5th tier, the Houses of Lore. So that all we can complete the next time around. So before we go though, we have to make sure we turn in our wrapper, and that is back down at the very bottom. So we are going to head down there, and then we're going to wrap it up. So I know Aaron Bard says the food in this town is amazing. I know it looks, oh, I should have shown you what they have up there. Golly darn it, I forgot to do that. Well, you know what? Okay, we'll just go back up because I'll show you real quick while I wrap up. So I want to go back to the high stables. That's what I meant to do, is show some of the housing items. So this festival, when it came out in 2020, was really neat. They had so many housing items that you could buy. Like, for example, these lamps are available as a housing item. This crazy, ridiculously huge, like it is huge, tower of flowers and things. You can buy that for your house too. So, so I'm going to write it back up. So I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon, and then I'm going to throw it over to B4. And B4 is going to do his streaming show called Pluggin' Along, where he talks about LOTRO plugins and does LOTRO plugin development. So here's our barterer. This is the person we want to talk to.
These are troublesome times indeed.
And so he's going to be doing that, and he's actually working on a patch for a plugin for this festival, basically taking my guide and putting it into a really quick, easily usable plugin form that hopefully will allow you to find your way around the city as you're going and doing this festival. So that's something that we're gonna that'll be really cool to take a look at here in just a minute. So let's see, just real quick. There's 4 steeds listed at the bottom, and they each one have like a regular steed, and then they've got the cosmetics for the war horse. So you have each of those. You've got essences, but then you got housing items, and that's where you could get a Midsummer stable. It's also really big, but it's a fabulous housing, like yard item. You've got these planters, which I've had so much fun decorating with those. But then you start getting into, all these food things. So we've got this tureen of Ranger's secret soup. We've got roast bird leg. We've got roast chickens. We've got a pedestal plate of lembas. We've got tear and share pastry platter. Like, the food is insane. And in fact, I was thinking, where is the thing about deco? So because there's so many housing items in the game, I just want to point out that Deco de Miu is a website, and they have a full catalog of all of the different housing items that you can find in LOTRO. So they've taken pictures from different perspectives, so you can kind of get an idea, like, is this big, is this small, like, what does this look like in an actual situation? And so any of these items, if you're like, I wonder what that would look like, you can just take a look at Deco de Miu, and I put some links there in the chat about, oh, whoops, I also included a link from, the Erebor housing, yeah, that was also Deco, so there we are. Okay, so I think I am about to wrap it up here then. If there's any last minute questions, throw that into the chat. If I somehow miss you, stick around. I'm going to be around. I'm just going to grab something to eat. But I'll still be in the chat, and while B4 is streaming anyway, so we're both here. So stick around for B4's Plugging Along. Next week, I will be back. We will pick up and do Midsummer Festival quests that we missed today. So we'll be able to finish that out. And if there's any other requests for next week, definitely let me know that as well. This year's theme is like summer concert stuff. So they have like this kind of cute outfit. That's the summer concert outfit. I love this cloak with its cute little flowers and stuff. It's quite adorable. And it, by the way, it dyes up really well. Okay. All right. I'm going to play with that as we are making our way out. So, again, thank you everybody for coming along and joining me on this journey through the festival, which I love. Really glad to be back in Midsummer Festival. I think it's probably one of my favorites because it's just so bouncy and light, and I love the music. Maybe the music is what does it for me. At any rate, all right, I will see you all again next week. And between now and then, as you know, we are going to stay connected to our Hobbit side of our hearts and take care of each other, right? All right. Take care, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.